Welcome back to Mind and Magick. We were talking in the last episode about how the source of creation, whether you call it God, the divine, what have you, would be responsible for his creations ultimately. Or perhaps we as humans created a God to help explain away the unexplainable. But there is a third alternative option that I didn't get into, and that was perhaps we are God. Let's get into it. The crux of the previous video, Blame God, was about how creators are always responsible for their creations, and that should extend all the way up to the source of creation itself. But that's not a scapegoat or meant to absolve us of our responsibilities. We were granted the ability to make decisions for ourselves. Whether or not that was predestined or free will matters not. If you go skydiving without a parachute, whose fault is that? God or his dumbass creation who didn't wear a parachute? Perhaps a bit of both. If you are someone who believes that man was created in the image of God and that we are, in essence, children of God, I want you to think of that parent-child concept in the context of programming. Coders will know that a string of code that is a child inherits certain attributes or properties from the parent. It's like a subset or branching off of the main code. And that's the context you have to look at it when somebody says something like, well, perhaps we are gods. They don't mean that you sitting there in your chair listening to this YouTube video, half asleep with Cheeto dust all over you, is the most almighty powerful being in the universe. That's not what that means. I've made this analogy before, I'll make it again. A leaf is not a tree. It is a part of a tree. It falls off and dies while the tree lives on year after year after year, creating new leaves each year. The leaf is the child, the tree is the parent. The leaf is of the tree, not the tree itself. And so when you hear occultists, magicians, hermeticists say that we are God, that's what they mean, that we have a divine spark within us. But that divine spark is not the whole. And that divine spark that we do have has inherited divine properties along with it. God may have created the universe, but we create our reality within that universe. So when things go wrong, you could blame God, but you would be blaming yourself along with it, would you not? When things go wrong, maybe you did something that contributed to it going wrong. But more importantly, you still have the power to change it. Yes, God, the divine, whatever you wish to call the source of creation, is ultimately responsible for that creation, but that doesn't absolve you of your responsibilities and your creations. For if you make bad decisions, you will suffer the consequences of those decisions. And you can blame God all you want, it's not going to get you out of those consequences, whatever they may be. And perhaps God is taking responsibility for his creations, at least the part of him that is the divine spark in you. Responsibility seems to be one of those inherited properties, which also becomes even more important as a magician. The outworn adage of Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, is true, because you can do a lot of damage as a magician if you're irresponsible. And I know that from experience because my magic has wrecked the entire area before. Check out the Patreon exclusive content for that video. But you didn't choose to incarnate on this earth, so you can blame God or even your parents for that. I know there are a lot of spiritualists out there who say you chose this incarnation and everything that happens to you in it before you even incarnated, without any memory of having done so. And I'm like, I know that's not true. Why? Because there are things that have happened to me that I never would have agreed to in a million years. How do I know? Because know thyself. Don't tell me that I agreed to something that I know I never would have agreed to. So you didn't choose to be here, but you're here all the same. And you're just going to have to deal with that. And we do so by making the best decisions we can and taking responsibility for what happens in our lives as a result of them. And if you can do that, you will be ahead of most people in this life. Because what most people do is try to pass the buck. They all try to avoid responsibility and liability. They all want the power, but none of the responsibility that comes with it. So if you can accept responsibility for your decisions and your actions, you'll have a leg up on everyone else, as success tends to favor responsible people. I mean, really, that's what power is. The power to create or to destroy carries with it the responsibility of that action. Take the case of world leaders. When's the last time you ever heard one take responsibility for anything? Your partisanship doesn't matter. None of them do. I mean, mistakes happen, but instead of trying to pass the buck, if you just accept responsibility for it, you can correct course that much quicker. And you're all that much more likely to learn from your mistakes when you do. And with magic, you want to correct your mistakes as quickly as possible so that you don't build your entire practice on them. Responsibility, duty, obligations, they all correspond with Saturn, which is the most authoritative planet in the astrological and Kabbalistic traditions. It's at the top of the hierarchy, which again, the one with the most authority and power has the responsibility. And how much more power and responsibility can one get being able to rapidly change reality if and when you want to? Your reality, your decisions, your consequences. I want to thank you for joining me and hope you will also over on Patreon, where we have early access, exclusive content, and a few Mind and Magic programs with more on the way. And I'll see you there, or head on over to mindandmagic.com for anything that's not on Patreon already. And I will see you next time. Take care.